radically moving a cold marriage forward. Now, this is coming from an interview, so we're going to do 5 things. Trying too hard versus laying off a bit. I'm Cass.
I'm Kathryn.
Transaction versus submission. This is going to piss some people off today. How we got here versus how to move forward.
So it should be gratitude and love if it's not desire. We're Morrow Marriage.
Let's flip divorce statistics with the new marriage. Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, guys. And today we're going to do an episode called Radically Moving a Cold Marriage Forward. Now, this is coming from an interview, so we're going to do 5 things. But we had to do a video because we were interviewed for, can't recall.
A magazine.
Another magazine. So we just thought, hey, if we're going to have it written, why don't we give it to you? So 5 things that you can do like immediately to move your marriage forward, especially if it's cold. The very first thing I'm going to say is bids
of connection, turning towards,
like the R's on the logo. Simple. People spend so much time trying to deal with where they're at in their own feelings, hurting, rather than trying to actually bid for connection.
Right, and a bid for connection is any attempt to connect with your partner. So that can be as simple as good morning. We can all get up in the morning and say good morning, right?
Yeah, that's my favorite example to use, because I know there were so many times that I would say to you something along the lines of I'm just grumpy in the morning, you know?
Well, he was.
And so I'm just turning away from my wife and I'm defending myself. So you have to really acknowledge that this is a thought process, an actual attempt to connect. Guys, this could be so many different things. It could be a little touch, we're touching right now, right? This could be an interaction with a phone call or a text message. This could be actively asking a question about something that you guys have going on in your lives. I mean, any bid for connection.
Look from across the room, a little wink, wink, a little eyebrow raise.
I'm gonna get one of those later. So I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's really that simple. You have to start looking at your day-to-day little interactions, and it can also be big.
It can be big, it can be small, but it's the attempts that you put out as well as the way you turn towards and respond to your partner.
That's right.
Number two. Peace. Why don't you talk about this one?
Peace is my favorite thing because so many people think, well, I wasn't as abusive as you, Cass. I didn't emotionally abuse my wife like you. I just shut down. I actually have a wife who's so mean or whatever. And you don't have to be as assaulting as I was towards Kathryn back then. You have to understand that, you know, it's like I tell people all the time, symptoms are the same. It doesn't matter what your story is. So therefore, it's the same treatments. If, for example, one of my favorite things to do when I call honey is I'll start to talk and I'll ask them about their definition of success. And when they start to talk about how successful they are, I'll start to say, now, if I'm your wife, you just gone off on this whole tangent, which means you made me feel like I'm not a priority. You made me feel like I'm not heard. You didn't actually answer my question. You talked about how great you were, which is really defensiveness. And some of the stuff can often sound like an attack. So I say, if I'm your wife, I'm not very happy with you after all these years, right? Peace is safety, is trust, is relying on you, not wondering if you're the guy that loves, or this could be women too, not the person who's all in love, available, access, service, gifts, and then there's the second person who shuts down. If you don't, then I won't. You know, they just pull back because they're afraid of rejection. And then you have the third person who is going to be defensive, usually blame, attack, guilt, throw, shame, dump, etc. All removing peace from the home. If you start to add in things that you're not following through on, if you start to add in some of the bigger issues, you start losing what the actual problems are, and you have no peace.
And with peace comes emotional safety. With emotional safety comes emotional intimacy. And with emotional intimacy comes physical intimacy.
And as you unlock new levels of safety, if you're coming out of this painful, this trauma in your marriage, what you'll start to realize is you will unlock new levels of safety because more trust is there. Understanding emotional control is there. You have emotional intelligence. When these sorts of things are actively in your relationship, you restore more peace daily. Like every interaction moves you forward. We're not looking for the shoe to drop. We're not disagreeing that the changes are real or not. We just enjoy it. We unlock safety, so we unlock intimacy, and we keep rising.
That's right.
Right.
Number 3 is mini dates. So we hear people say all the time, I don't have time to go on a date. I don't have any money, but my husband had this brilliant idea to connect. You can do it every day. What's an example? What are some examples of mini dates?
Examples would literally just be, so you can do, first of all, you should know mini date is going to be either like, 30 seconds to like 10 minutes. Okay. And so, one example would be in the morning. If I come up to Kathryn on the couch and I see she needs another coffee and she squeezes my hand, this is like literally a 30-second thing. in the instance that I'm thinking of, Kathryn's busy. She's already working. She just wants her coffee. She takes a moment to say, I love you, and we connect. This is a little like a bid, but when you can take that and go longer, I don't often do it, but when I sit with you for 10 minutes on the couch,
it's a little mini date.
And you are excited. You put your phone down. You're like, just a chance for us to connect.
Have coffee together. That's
right. So you can do this, guys, for everything. Maybe it's how you clean up the kitchen. Maybe it's the bath time routine with the kids. And then what do you do after the kids? Because you don't have the dates with your kids the same way. That's a family date. Okay. And when you start to realize that you're connecting, okay, and then we can build on that. Yes, you don't. When we saved our marriage, guys, we lost a 7-figure brick and mortar gym. It was COVID. And we were not able to go do a lot financially. We've never had support for our kids, typically.
Unless we pay for it.
Unless we pay for it.
We have childcare, but we've never had friends and family that would take care of our children for us.
That's right. So you can use mini dates as an awesome opportunity to sort of extend bids and actually spend a little time together, even in your chaotic life. Even if you're broke, turn the music on and just sing to a song together, dance together. There's so many ways that you can make this happen. And it's really important because without that little connection, the beginning connection, right, then you can't actually have home dates, which would be an extension of May dates. You can't go on real dates. And we'll talk about real dates in a minute. The fourth thing.
Don't talk about the past.
Ooh, I love this one because, as you know, everybody wants to communicate about the past. Everybody wants to deal with their pain, and they want to go back to that cycle of turning away from each other. So defensive and attack. This is a cycle you get into because you want to deal with these issues. We're going to have an upcoming episode on this. Actually, I have a client right now who she is so focused on what kind of affair, how he had the affair, all this stuff that we're not moving things forward. You guys, I'm not saying you won't address issues from the past. However, if you
don't need to talk about every little thing.
You just don't.
First of all, you don't have the tools and the skills. So if you don't have the tools and the skills to deal with conflict, you're going to make conflict worse.
That's right.
Second of all, when you are connected, some of these little things are going to dissolve. You don't need to start bringing up little things from the past that don't matter anymore because they no longer exist.
That's 100% true. The amount of times you guys will listen, we did an episode recently on the mashed potato story. There's issues that we never address, and it is not sweeping it under the rug. It is literally, if you are looking for all the bad shit, you will not create opportunities to find and create the good stuff. Love, okay? Peace, so you must really think about, what do I need to address? Is it actually issue X, or is it actually something A where it would dissolve and we don't have to worry about it, okay? Mm-hmm. Fair. And the very last one.
Think about your actual legacy. And I'd love you to talk about this one. You're really passionate about it.
This is something that I believe in so often. So if you think about dates, I want to extend on that. What are you going to talk about? If you only have, your career, and that could be your actual job, or that could be what you do at home. If you have your kids and you have each other, after a while, that is going to go get a little stale. Let's get real. I mean, we can go create fun times. We go to the fair. This could be a date with the family or a date with Kathryn. You could do whatever it is, okay? And then what? You're going to talk about how great it was to do that same sort of thing. So yes, one side of things, you could create a lot of value between the two of you if you're connected. But on the flip side, then what? The amount of things that we're doing because we actually believe in, so we say, we don't necessarily charge you to save your marriage. We sell freedom. And in that freedom, what's the world that we're building is a free world for our children, a better place for our children, grandchildren. You can't underestimate how important it is to become valuable, to create an impact. And what does that do? It opens up lines of communication. Not too long ago, baby comes out to me. She's like, it's 11:30, coming to bed, babe. And I muted the phone. I said, I can't. This guy's going to kill himself. Next morning, we said, can we have breakfast or can we talk? I can't remember which. And tell me what happened with that guy. And you were like, wow, like I could never do that. You felt a sense of pride and things like, guys, it's valuable. It's not what I do for a living, but because of who I am and the men that I create, I now have a lot of experience in dealing with that. So we have all kinds of men coming into my program and they're talking about how they read the Bible every day. Now, you don't have to be faith-based to go through our programs, but what's really cool about these men who believe in their spiritual leadership and who are learning every day is they are teaching other men. When somebody says, how do you get disciplined enough to read the Bible? I can't get through it. And they talk to them, they lead them. You become valuable. If somebody is following you, then
you become a leader.
That's right. And so if you want to move your cold marriage forward, you're essentially bringing the coldness to the warmth to life, because you're bringing the life around you to life. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. We've proved it time and time and time again. So if you want to move your actual cold marriage forward radically, start with these 5 things and go get your life.